Get right to Rome and the historic Papal Conclave. You're looking live at the Vatican, where all 115 voting cardinals are now in place. Josh Elliott is there, too. And Josh, I love this tweet from the Vatican's media advisor, Greg Burke. Life is like baseball, and tomorrow is opening day at Vatican City.
And so the bunting has been adorned, and there is a palpable buzz here in the air. George, this morning as the 115 cardinal electors actually attended a final pre-conclave meeting before beginning the ultimate process of selecting Pope Benedict's successor. It's a process that will begin with the Mass just behind me there in St. Peter's and end when that iconic white smoke rises from the chimney atop the Sistine Chapel. This morning in Vatican City, under a blanket of clouds, the curtains being hung, a literal shrouding of the process to elect a new pope. Fewer than 24 hours from now, the College of Cardinals, made up of 115 cardinal electors, will move into the Conclave House Santa Marta in Vatican City, where they will be isolated from the rest of the world.
That decision, I think, is probably a source of great anxiety, of a sense of responsibility on your shoulders. Now, the possibility that you might be elected makes it even worse. I mean, and I think it's very natural for them to be a little bit terrified.
At 10 a.m., they'll attend Mass at St. Peter's Basilica.
We'll see the whole College of Cardinals process in. The ambassadors of all the countries will be here for that Mass.
Then in the afternoon, the cardinals will enter the Sistine Chapel, where they take collective and individual oaths to faithfully observe the rules of electing a pope. They'll promise to keep everything having to do with the election secret. The cardinals will sit in 2 rows on either side of the room to fill out their ballots in silence.
When you go with your ballot paper in your hand and hold it up in front of the altar and say, I call on the Lord Jesus, who will be my judge. That's really a moment of intense, I'd say, emotion.
Once counted, the ballots will be read aloud, recorded in a ledger, then burned in this iron stove, which will send that iconic smoke up the chimney. They're doing everything they can to make sure that we can tell when the smoke's black and when the smoke's white. Do you anticipate something similar to 2005 when we just weren't sure?
I think that the experience of 2005 is going to make, they've probably done some tests to make sure that they can produce genuinely white smoke this time.
To get the required 2/3 majority, the next pope will need 77 votes to be elected. And that gives you an idea then of what will go on inside the Sistine Chapel during this momentous event. But the voting is secret and anonymous, so much so, George, that in fact they become self-forgers of a sort. The cardinals are instructed to disguise their own handwriting when filling out the names on their ballots.
And it is in Latin. And Josh, you know, there's no real consensus candidate appears to be emerging yet. So any insight on how long this could take?
Well, George, as you know, there is precedent both ways. There was a conclave that occurred in the mid-1200s that lasted almost 3 years. However, it has been over 100 years since we've seen a conclave last even longer than 5 days. However, if you walk the streets here, grab an Italian tabloid, you can find anybody that will tell you it will last any number of days. Father Walk, though, this morning told me that he thought, due to the extraordinary circumstances of Benedict's resignation, the cardinals have had about a month to think about it, and so he thinks that could in fact lead to a longer conclave. George?
Okay, Josh, thanks very much.